There. There. Man, we already got 4 of these. People no one talking yet. No one's talking. Oh boy. Come on, phone. Alright, we got 70 all here and 0 talk. 0 talk. What is going on here? I think we're doing a quick little live show early.
Hey, you can get ahead of that.
Because I am got things I gotta do tonight.
These cards can help move what you owe on one card.
Lo and behold, Rachel Ziegler,
I got things I have to do over here.
who is not done posting else,
Why is it?
and it
One like, 8 of y'all here, and 0 talk so far.
insufferable girl bossing is a hell of a drug. Side effects are zero accountability and disconnection from reality. Let me give you a perfect example of an apex. And the trailer for that movie dropped on YouTube.
2 likes,
and it
and
instantly
10 of y'all here,
became
still 0
the
likes.
#1 most downvoted trailer in the history of the
Oh boy,
platform.
they took away the likes.
That might be a humbling
I get
experience.
emotional about it.
Maybe you wouldn't want to release that movie, but that movie was loosed on an unexpecting American public, which gave it a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 1.6 rating out of 10 on
See this
IMDb,
little third?
and a 1.2 rating.
Oh, we're down to 9 now.
Extreme, overwhelming dislike from thousands of user scores on Metacritic. These might be humbling feedback. Humble brag about how beautiful you are. But that is exactly what Rachel Ziegler has done. After the box office flop, Snow White lost hundreds of millions of dollars for Disney, she decides to rage post behind every strong woman is herself. She continued celebrating herself by posting that she's in the #1 movie in the world, which is a remarkable thing to post when you are the laughing stock of the entire industry. This is what narcissism looks like. Narcissism for 200. Look at me. I'm Snow White. Now, Rachel Ziegler has literally become the meme. Oh, yeah. Theaters are, of course, entirely empty. Do you understand? Of success in your industry, Rachel Ziegler, I guess, didn't get the memo. And it is actually so bad that Rachel Ziegler decided to post a video of herself in a theater. Maybe, I think she bought that ticket right there. And lo and behold, Rachel Ziegler, who is not done posting else, legendary run of L's that Rachel Ziegler has posted, decided to film herself in a theater totally empty, giggling, tee-hee-heeing with total glee. Look at this. Look at this face.
You look like a dumbass. That's
what can be said about this level of narcissism? Here, please, enjoy.
Yeah, she's glad that her party lost.
Cheering for herself. In the greatest Disney box office bomb in the history of Disney live-action remakes, but certainly also the end of her career. The bliss of total stupidity and narcissism. Look at the bliss. On some level, it's got to be a blessing to just be so smooth-brained and to not truly understand that it's over. She posted this. She was proud of it. Not another soul in the theater, which is why they can act up like this. She's cheering at the sight of her own name.
Yeah.
This is what theaters look like across the world, and it just keeps getting worse. The memes keep coming to life.
Look at her dumb ass.
You have to add John Travolta to this. Anyone? Anybody? Rachel Ziegler went to go see Snow White. What do you notice about the theater? There's no one. Rachel Ziegler is sitting in an empty movie theater watching her movie.
Why should I care about her when she's around? I think it's funny. Her shade left the damn fucking pretty lost.
Snow White in an
I
empty
think it's
theater.
funny too.
Rachel Ziegler is watching her box
Looks
office
fucking
flop.
stupid to
Snow
me.
White in an empty theater, the level of
But
delusion
if you like
to
it,
be
hey,
studied,
that's you.
Actually, I'm getting serial killer.
I'm just
vibes.
different. I don't
People better
care.
Be careful. Around
left
Rachel
to be
Ziegler
decent.
is happily watching. Snow
Hello,
White
how
in
you
an
doing?
empty
Hey, I
theater.
got some good
And so
news
funny
there.
to
Stay
me,
on
like,
there.
The look of
I
people.
very good news there.
This
I was
actually look like a happy person.
I got the
It's always
face
in the
early,
eyes,
but
man. It's always in the eyes.
it was late.
If you cover
I got
up,
it.
If you cover up the mouth and you look at just the eyes,
But
no, you
if
see
you're gonna
evil
stay here, I'll
in the
play for you real quick.
back, right? If you look at just the eyes,
I
it's
can always
evil.
play this one later.
The mouth is
You
not
should have heard it by
smiling,
now.
And no one at Disney is smiling. Certainly, this being one in a series of nightmarish
You'll
disasters.
check in later. Why
for a
later?
brand that
What are you
made
scared about talking now?
Lizzo canon in Star Wars. I'll never forget it. And I
You
don't
don't
think we talk about
deny
it
it, and you
enough.
can stay here.
Lizzo is now canon in Star Wars. What's worse than Rachel Ziegler?
Either one of these are
don't know.
these are trolls.
Could it be worse?
This person's a troll. Just came in,
So
started to
mine-
count like
There's a
a
reason
couple
why
days
Disney
ago.
is failing right now. Rachel Ziegler is just part of
There's
a
nothing
larger
better to
mosaic,
lie.
a
But it's
broader- according to
Another
Nielsen
troll
data,
house. How you
Disney
doing,
got
trolls? Let me help you up there,
Disney
trolls.
in total US
Oh,
And that's probably
trolls.
thanks to
Trolls.
viewers 50 and
Bye bye,
over.
trolls.
Another alarm bell for Hollywood.
Adios.
So Disney's losing to YouTube.
Are you gonna come back later too with another
That's why I
chat,
started off
another
with this,
thing?
right? Disney's losing to YouTube.
See, I'm being very nice, lady here.
15 million views. How many of them were just to jump down directly into the comment section? I'll give Disney some credit. They're brave enough to leave the comment section open. Wow, Disney, you're truly incredible. It took you 3 years of multiple rewrites, unnecessary CGI, and $200 million just for me to enjoy the comment section more than I'll enjoy the movie. They finally did it.
Are you still there,
Nobody's
buddy?
going to pirate. Having struggled.
I'm
as
gonna
an
play
addict
it
my
if
whole
you're
life,
here still.
Watching this trailer has finally done it. Ain't never
I don't
snorting
care
any
about
Snow or
trolls.
White ever again. Coming to a theater near you for the first time in my life. I'm glad there are no theaters near me. Theater gave me depression, but then the comment section, the trailer gave me depression, and the comment section cured it. They should create an award for the best comment section. That's the only award this movie is winning. They just tried to
Award that
play
she's
to set a
fucking
look at theater.
stupid.
The projector walked out.
Yes, you are still good. I'm glad you're still. Let me put this real quick. I can always watch. I see the fucking this stupid shit.
Snow White's theater.
This is to be more important.
Boy, were they? This was 1 month.
I think you guys
ago.
will like it. Come on. Come on, get her. Yeah, there's one that I really. This is actually really good news. I think so myself. I mean, a lot of people do feel the same way. Like, out of this thing. Why is this thing not letting you do it? Get out of there. I don't care about that nonsense commercial. But there's some very, very good news for the J6 stuff. I mean, I think you should have heard it by now. The J6 stuff, there's a lot of good news. I mean, it's going to change. I mean, it is. Trump's team is doing an awesome job. Come on, play the thing, but no.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. I'm a firearm owner. You're likely a firearm owner as well. What would happen to you if you left a loaded Glock around a bunch of school children? You'd definitely lose your job. You'd be prosecuted and most likely thrown in prison. You'd never be able to own a firearm again. But then again, you're not a member of the Capitol Hill Police, where this is par for the course. Capitol Hill Police leave weapon again in bathroom. Who did this? Lieutenant Michael Byrd left his Glock 22 in a bathroom in the Capitol Visitor Center, a place that is teeming with school children 365 days out of the year. And not just thousands of school children, but foreigners who are here to do sightseeing, just regular Americans, janitors, members of Congress, members of the Senate, members of the administration. This jackass, who should have immediately been fired and marched out of the building, was given a promotion after this. And of course, he was present during January 6th to commit murder. He killed Ashley Babbitt, a 5-foot-tall U.S. military veteran who ran a pool cleaning company with her husband. She was there to protest a stolen election. She was doing so peacefully, and she was murdered by Michael Byrd in cold blood without warning. It's all on tape. I can't show you that tape because it's too gruesome. You can go find it for yourself. What you can see is right here, a still frame from that tape, where you can see behind Ashley Babbitt, there's an armed officer who gives Michael Byrd the thumbs up over her dead body.
Yep.
It almost seems like Ashley Babbitt was the target, and that they were ordered to do this, or at the very least, that the police were approving of murder in cold blood. It's never been properly investigated, Michael Byrd, who says to this very day that he saved lives by murdering Trump supporters. Michael Byrd is a piece of scum, and it's been thousands of days since Ashley Babbitt's summary murder on camera with zero consequences. Tucker wrapped it up nicely right here.
Today, a Capitol Hill police officer called Michael Byrd shot an unarmed woman in the neck. At the time of that killing, Byrd had a documented history of gross negligence with a firearm. He left a loaded Glock pistol in a public men's room at the Capitol, which for a law enforcement official is a firing offense. But for some reason, Michael Byrd was still in the force that day.
When I see this early,
The
man, I was
woman
like,
killed
really?
was called Ashley Babbitt. Babbitt was a married 14-year veteran of the U.S. military. He killed her anyway. Under normal circumstances, Byrd would have been fired immediately and charged with murder, which he clearly committed. But that's not what happened. After doing essentially no investigation into the shooting, Nancy Pelosi's congressional police force declared Byrd a national hero, and the media strongly agreed. Byrd went on television to accept accolades and to complain about racism. He was never punished for killing Ashley Babbitt. He was rewarded for it.
It's actually the evils of a DEI regime where there is no meritocracy, no accountability. As long as you tick a box, you are literally able to get away with murdering a white person or somebody you politically disagree with or someone who's politically unfashionable, like Ashley Babbitt. Well, joke's on them. Because the most powerful political movement in the entire country right now is the MAGA movement, and President Trump is back to set the record right. And President Trump has already freed and liberated the vast majority of J6 political prisoners, thousands of them. President Trump was asked just hours ago on Newsmax whether he's going to look into the summary murder of Ashley Babbitt in cold blood by one of Nancy Pelosi's Gestapo goons. And ladies and gentlemen, his answer sent shockwaves throughout the internet. Here we go.
It's a terrible thing. I don't know if you know this, but the Department of Justice right now is still kind of fighting that case. The family of Ashley Babbitt is suing the government. He is still opposing that lawsuit, trying to justify it. Shouldn't that be something that can just be settled at this point?
Well, I'll look into that. I mean, you're just telling me that for the first time. I haven't heard that. I'm a big fan of Ashley Babbitt, okay? And Ashley Babbitt was a really good person who was a big MAGA fan, Trump fan, and she was innocently standing there. They even say trying to sort of hold back the crowd. And a man did something to her that was unthinkable when he shot her. And I think it's a disgrace. I'm going to look into that. I did not know that. No.
And the officer who shot her, Michael Byrd, is still on duty. They gave him a raise and they gave him a medal and I believe a promotion.
I think it's a disgrace.
He's a federal employee. Would you or could you do something like that?
I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to look at that too. His reputation was, I won't even say, let's find out about his reputation, okay? We're going to find out. But I watched that and I saw that. And by the way, she was killed, but nobody else was killed. And, you know, the people that went down there, they had no guns. They didn't have guns. There was something to do with the FBI. There was something to do with Antifa and others, and it wasn't mentioned. And there's never been a group of people, I think, with the pretty harshly, but essentially never treated so badly. And as you know, I let them out with pardons. I know you were very happy. I watch your show all the time. You were extremely happy about it. And plenty of other people were too. People don't realize this whole movement that we have is just incredible people. They were treated so unfairly, so horribly. Some of them didn't even go into the building. And the judges, the system, the hatred, the vitriol, the prosecutors, the way they wanted to destroy these people. People would go in and they'd be so proud to go before court, and they'd have a good lawyer, and they'd walk out of court like devastated the way they were treated.
We need justice for all the J6ers that died today.
No, but I took care of them. I said I was going to, and I did.
President Trump following up on his promises, saying that potentially there could be reparations for people who were treated unfairly under Joe Biden, including the January 6th political prisoners. The DOJ has a system actually to pay recompense to people who have been wrongly prosecuted. But Trump saying that he's going to look into the cop who murdered Ashley Babbitt is a big deal. Greg Kelly just revealed that President Trump, the DOJ, is still in court fighting Ashley Babbitt's wrongful death lawsuit. President Trump could immediately fix this. He could settle that lawsuit, pay out Ashley Babbitt's family, and then punish the officer. I think that he needs to face a jury, obviously.
I think we need to hang his fucking ass in the middle of fucking desert.
For what he did to Ashley Babbitt. Trump
and torch his ass.
Michael Byrd,
fucking had the same thing.
Killer cop who murdered Ashley Babbitt and has since been promoted. Ashley Babbitt deserves justice.
Well,
George Floyd's family received $27 million. Ashley Babbitt received nothing. Did you know that Joe Biden pardoned officers who testified before the committee? Do you know that Michael Byrd never testified before the committee? They were trying to hide everything that happened with this murderer. And now it seems like you could absolutely bring charges against Michael Byrd, and I hope that that happens. Let me know where I could donate. Judicial Watch agrees with Donald Trump that Ashley Babbitt deserves justice, which is why we filed a $30 million wrongful death lawsuit, federal government, for her estate and widower. Good.
I think the other officers should be charged too. Same thing. Same fucking treatment.
The fact that this
they all knew it.
Promoted,
give him fucking thumbs up in the middle field.
Often
let the animals have fun with
Ashley Babbitt. Will you pardon anyone who attacked an officer on January 6th? The only one who was killed was the young lady. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. Perfect response by President Trump. Boy, oh boy, sure would be fun to watch this son of a bitch squirm.
Yeah.
This guy's a real piece of garbage. I saved countless lives by committing murder against a Trump supporter. I saved lives.
Yeah, I mean, they should be. I mean, the fact that you know we know he's guilty. We have to charge him, but I think the motherfuckers need to go
where we can donate.
They need to get the same treatment.
Political defense.
The officer too.
You
want to get thumbs up?
This needs to be the next case that gets brought forward. I'm so glad that Greg
I'm very glad it's being done too.
Total support for Ashley.
I was seeing it early. That was good.
Been on our program, and
Jared called about it. I thought he'd have him.
Like, share, and subscribe.
And all you hear these days that are attacking these Elon Musk, all these Tesla vehicles, you guys are dumb. Really are. Seriously, you guys cannot be mad at Elon Musk. You gotta be mad at your Democrat Party. Not Elon Musk.
At Firestone Complete Auto Care, we hold our service.
I really don't
to the highest
understand what you guys are
standard.
trying to
That's
get
why
us
we
here.
have thousands of ASE certified technicians nationally.
So we were waiting for the JFK files. 80,000 of them. And no, I did not read all 80,000 of them, but our next guest already knows all of them by heart and can tell you what's really going on here. For the full hour, we have the legendary Roger Stone, and we're going to take our time here and go through what have we learned from the files, what do we know, and the truth about who killed John Fitzgerald Kennedy. With us is Roger Stone. Roger, welcome to the program.
Charlie, it's great to be with you. Before we start, once again, I want to commend you and Turning Point U.S.A. for the crucial role you played in the greatest comeback in American political history, the smashing victory of President Donald Trump.
Well, thank you. Side and for fighting all the way through. So, Roger, let's start with the most immediate news, and then we can kind of JFK file dump.
I think the one thing we learned is that the Central Intelligence Agency has dissembled in the past about their knowledge of Lee Harvey Oswald, at least his existence. We've learned that they knew he was not a good shot. I don't believe that
There's no funds that come in.
Shooter from the 6th floor of the
There has
Texas
no funds.
School Book Depository building. But
There's
again,
one extra cut up here, but there has been no funds
these
coming in.
documents have been in
I just had to
government
spend
hands
some
for
money to get the car fixed, so.
2+ years. In other words, plenty of time to sanitize them.
I know you donate.
like Tim
You donate one time, but
from Tennessee,
I just had the funds, so
early
you're going
on
back and forth.
that the president broaden his disclosure order to include every agency, not narrow it to the Kennedy assassination documents archive
we have funds.
that is
This is
controlled
gonna
by
be,
the Central Intelligence Agency.
welcome- come this
we
week,
don't
actually.
know if what we have seen is complete, but what we do know is what we've seen so far is inconclusive, other than to say it does confirm that the Central Intelligence Agency had far earlier knowledge of Oswald, and the documents we've seen so far
So I had to get my
tend to seek to
things on my
reinforce
car.
what
They
I
had to
still
get done.
believe is a If Lee Harvey Oswald shot John Kennedy and he used a $26 World War II vintage Italian Army carbine, why does he have no powder burns on his chest or his arms or his hands, according to the test by the Dallas Police Department?
So let's just stay focused on the and by the way, I sympathize you 100%. I've always subscribed that this Oswald thing is nonsense. I think there were more than one shooter, but I want to get into that eventually. But just on the files, and I know this is a silly question, has anyone actually gone through all of them?
Why, is that
as of
something you
our
like me to go
conversation now,
cover?
Roger? I mean, it's so much. It's so expansive. Has someone now finally thoroughly read all of them?
Because I know
Other
there's
than
one
to say
that's
that
come up here
we
in
can
Illinois.
find a Grok analysis of it, I think the answer is no. Also, the search capability is limited. So, in other words, if you search by certain terms, it won't work.
It's just
I
this
don't know a
water's so
single
crazy
person
on
who
these
has
days.
read all
You never know what you're gonna have
documents.
here.
In fact, all 80,000 documents
Some
haven't
days it's
even
cold,
yet
some days
been
rainy, you don't know what to get
uploaded.
here.
It was interesting that late in the day of disclosure, the day these were released, there were reports that the release based on purposes of national security. And then I was glad to see that Tulsi Gabbard, keeping the president's promise, announced when the documents could be seen both online and you can go to the National Archives and see them in person. Got to make an appointment, I believe, but for any American to see. So the president has kept his promise. But what we don't know is whether what is going to be released ultimately, all 80,000, is in fact
Yes,
complete.
that's the one that's all. Yes,
I don't think any
that's
conclusion
the one,
can be drawn based
just don't
on
have
what we have
the
seen,
funds to go. I heard about
other
that.
than the agency's knowledge regarding
All 50
Oswald.
states are going to do a
Starts
protest.
far earlier than they say. Remember, Charlie, that the law mandating the release of these documents
it's going to be really
was
big
passed
there.
in 1994. The date set was
It's hard to tell you with this weather,
2017.
man.
At that time, President Trump released about 80% of the documents, and we learned of some amazing things there. For example, we had the 1099 from the IRS to Lee Harvey Oswald for his time working for the FBI as an informant. For example, we had a memo from J. Edgar Hoover, then the head of the FBI, to President Lyndon Johnson, saying that the KGB, the Russian intelligence agency, had conducted their own independent investigation into Kennedy's assassination. And they had concluded, as I did in my 2013 book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, that Johnson was complicit in Kennedy's assassination. So President Trump already released a number of really compelling and interesting documents way back in 2017. He didn't release all of them that time because Mike Pompeo, the CIA director, asked that 20% of the documents be held back. Those are the documents that we are seeing now and which we will see more of shortly.
So so just so our audience understands that they're still all being uploaded in real time. Is that correct? That this is a process?
That is correct. So all 80,000 are not out there. Therefore, it's impossible to make a total judgment.
With the stock market at record highs, are you prepared for the next downturn? Corrections can be unforgiving. Smart investors know diversification is the key to financial security. Noble Gold Investments make it easy to diversify with gold.
The other
With
way
over
I could
$2
do
billion
it,
in sales, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans add gold to their portfolios. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins as a thank you. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Don't let the next correction catch you off guard. NobleGoldInvestments.com.
There's a number of questions, and I've been posting them, that just remain unanswered, and it doesn't appear that we're going to get answers out of these documents.
So, do you think that there will be any documents that will prove your hypothesis, connecting it to LBJ? And if so, what would that even look like?
No, because I think actually the documentation of that is already established. For example, on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository building, we find the fingerprints of a man named Malcolm Mac Wallace. They're on both the window encasement and they're on the cardboard boxes that form the crow's nest from which the shooter allegedly shot. We know that they are Wallace's fingerprints because Wallace was arrested for first-degree murder and tried and convicted in 1951. He shot and killed a man named John Douglas Kinzer, who was blackmailing Lyndon Johnson. He was also an employee of the U.S. Agriculture Department in a patronage job arranged for him by, Senator Lyndon Johnson. We also know that 6 people saw a man in the window of the Texas School Book Depository building who met the physical description of Wallace: middle-aged, heavy-set, balding, with glasses. 6 different witnesses see a man who meets that description, not the description of Lee Harvey Oswald. And then, as you may know, just weeks ago, Alex Jones released an audio tape that came from the grandson of Billy Sol Estes. Billy Sol Estes was a flamboyant Texas wheeler dealer. There's Malcolm Wallace, who was a crony of Johnson's, went to prison for corruption. But the grandson released an audio tape that is a conversation between Billy Sol Estes and Cliff Carter. Cliff Carter was the chief political operative for Lyndon Johnson. executive director of the Democrat National Committee in the 60s, in which they openly discussed the fact that Johnson had hired Wallace to shoot President John Kennedy. So it is my assertion that the Johnson portion of this is pretty well proven. As you know, Charlie, the motivation for me to write my book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, which, by the way, nothing we've seen so far distracts from or contradicts the conclusion that the CIA is among those involved in the murder of Kennedy. But I was working for former President Richard Nixon. In his post-presidential years, I've been brought in to work on his schedule and do he was, as you know, liked a good martini. He was enormously prospective and not very retrospective. In other words, it was very hard to get him to talk about the past, about his relationship and friendship with John Kennedy or Dwight Eisenhower or Nikita Khrushchev or any of the high points and low points. He would open up a bit, and it was on one of those occasions that I said, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? He said, sure. I said, who really killed John Kennedy? And he stared into his martini for a few minutes. He looked up at me and he said, well, let me say this. The Warren Commission was the biggest goddamn hoax in history. So I'm sorry, sir. I don't understand. What are you saying? He said, well, let me put it to you this way. Lyndon and I both wanted to be president, but I wasn't willing to kill for it. And it was that motivated me to go into 5 years of research to write my book, in which I concluded that Johnson, who as the Senate Majority Leader took the very unusual step of appointing himself to the subcommittee of defense appropriations in the Senate, where the CIA's budget was secretly prepared, their black box budget. So Johnson was the paymaster for the CIA. Johnson had also been receiving bribes from Carlos Marcello, the gangster who ran gambling in Texas and Louisiana. Interestingly enough, the man who passed those bribes to LBJ, a man named Jack Halford, got a presidential pardon 2 days after Lyndon Johnson became president. He had been convicted on some unrelated charge. Johnson also obviously was the water carrier for Big Texas Oil. So I believe all of those in the removal of John Kennedy. In the case of the Central Intelligence Agency, which is the focus of most of these disclosures, there were two problems. One, the Bay of Pigs, which was the invasion of Cuba by the United States, that was designed to look like an indigenous Cuban uprising. Now, the plan, which was born under Eisenhower in a working group headed by Vice President Richard Nixon, included air cover for the men storming the beaches that was supposed to be supplied by 29 Panamanian-flagged fighter jets piloted by Cuban pilots. For reasons we do not know, the CIA canceled that the day before the invasion. Consequently, the invasion was a fiasco. The men storming the beaches in Cuba, the Bay of Pigs, were cut to ribbons. Curtis LeMay, the head of the U.S. Air Force, at that point the Joint Chiefs, went to JFK and said the only way to save the day here is to send in the U.S. Air Force. Kennedy refused because that would have exposed that this was a U.S.-sponsored operation. The CIA blamed Kennedy. Kennedy blamed the CIA. And then there's the Cuban Missile Crisis. We've been told that brave Jack and Bobby Kennedy faced down Nikita Khrushchev, who withdrew the missiles that he had stationed in Cuba 90 miles off our shore. But Charlie, that's not true. 40 years later, when documents were declassified, we learned what the military knew in real time, which was we removed our NATO missiles from Italy and Turkey in return for an agreement with Khrushchev to remove the missiles from Cuba. But that agreement had no on-site inspection. So there was deep distrust between the CIA and President Kennedy, and therefore a motive. We also know, and this can be quite well documented, that the intelligence services and the Secret Service had learned that John Kennedy had become addicted to methamphetamine. He was seeing Dr. Max Jacobson of New York, who was known also as Dr. Feelgood. Dr. Jacobson was attending many of the beautiful people of the day, Frank Sinatra, the opera singer Maria Calais, Pablo Casals, Leonard Bernstein, Nelson Rockefeller, and he was injecting them with what they were told was a proprietary blend of vitamins and enzymes that would lift their energy. What I'm trying to do here, Charlie, is to demonstrate the motive of everyone who I believe is involved in Kennedy's assassination. So to wrap that up, the Central Intelligence Agency is angry about what they think is the mishandling of the Bay of Pigs, the mishandling of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they're concerned about John Kennedy being attended by Dr. Max Jacobson. If you look at the manifest of those who traveled to Vienna for the summit conference with Khrushchev, you'll find Dr. Jacobson on that manifest. And in fact, he writes extensively in his own book about injecting John F. Kennedy with this proprietary blend of prior to his meeting with Khrushchev. So we've established the Central Intelligence Agency's motive, a lot of which I think is being confirmed in these documents. And then, of course, there's Big Texas Oil. Kennedy wants to repeal the oil depletion allowance. There's just so many unanswered questions. For example, Malcolm Kilduff, the deputy press secretary for John Kennedy, the man who announces to the press that Kennedy is dead, historic recording, he says in his memoirs that he's on the elevator with the new president, Lyndon Johnson, immediately after Johnson has assumed the presidency. And he says to him, Mr. President, who would do something so horrible? Who would kill our president? And Johnson says, it was a communist, son. He says, well, what kind of communist, Mr. President? He said, it was a Russian communist, son. There's only one problem. Lee Harvey Oswald has not yet been apprehended. Another point, the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover puts out a telex to all of the station chiefs in the United States saying that Lee Harvey Oswald, a Russian communist, has been apprehended. But the telex goes out before Oswald has actually been arrested in the theater in Dallas. Another unanswered question.
So Roger, just in the interest of time, I do have a question though. Sure. So you were close to Richard Nixon. If Richard Nixon believed this, which I'm not doubting your story, why didn't he then go public with it during Watergate or in his post-presidency? Because it very well could have helped him while he was being transitioned into political exile.
You know, our mutual friend Tucker Carlson, I think, actually illustrated this point. Very recently, he played an audio tape that is a conversation between Richard Nixon and the CIA director, Richard Helms, in which he's beginning to pressure Helms for help from the CIA in the encroaching Watergate scandal. And he confronts him and says, you know, a lot of dirty business went on over there at the agency. A lot of things were covered up. And Helms plays dumb and says, I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about, Mr. President. And Nixon says it right out loud. He says, let me put it this way. I know who shot John. So the answer to your question, Charlie, is I believe, based on that recording and also on an interview with staff, that Nixon leveraged his knowledge of Kennedy's assassination and the government's duplicity in it for the pardon. And, as reported by the New York Times, Gerald Ford, later president, but at that time a member of the Warren Commission, at the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, actually takes the autopsy diagram from Kennedy's doctor, erases the markings that show a wound in Kennedy's upper back, and moves it to his lower neck, rear neck, to accommodate the so-called single bullet theory. When the New York Times asks President Ford, then a former president, why he did this, he said, well, the country needed closure. He didn't say the country needed truth. He said the country needed closure. So I believe Nixon actually leveraged this knowledge, leveraged this information. General Haig told me Nixon had them by the short hairs, and he told them, if I'm going down, I'm taking everyone with me.
So Roger, let's now go through the events on the day that JFK was shot. What happened that day specifically that was suspicious, out of the ordinary? And what in the cover-up or the investigation made people believe that there was something here that was less than desirable?
Well, let's remember, Kennedy is supposed to be going from the airport to the merchant, one of which is in the city limits. It is John Connally, then governor of Texas, who insists that the motorcade route city to come back out of the city. And Jerry Bruno, who is the chief advance man for John F. Kennedy, records in his book that he objected to the motorcade route because it would have required, and did require, the presidential limousine to come to a full stop, a stop sign, which of course is what made Kennedy a target. Connally insists that if they don't take the motorcade route as demanded by the governor of Texas, that the entire trip will be scheduled. Secondarily, all of the buildings on both sides of Dealey Plaza are supposed to be searched, emptied, and sealed. They aren't. There's supposed to be multiple plainclothes Secret Service agents throughout the crowd. There aren't. There's supposed to be 3 motorcycle officers, each abreast the presidential limousine on each side. Not only are there not 6 motorcycle cops, there's 1, and he's directed to ride behind the presidential limousine. And then, of course, there is the question of Lyndon Johnson. The vice presidential limousine is riding 2 car lengths behind the presidential limousine. But if you look at newsreel footage and still camera footage, what you see in the succession of photos is Ralph Yarborough, the senator from Texas, arch enemy of Lyndon Johnson, Lady Bird Johnson, and Senator Johnson, or Vice President Johnson. And then in the next image, Johnson is missing. That's because he hits the deck prior to the first shot being heard. Now, Rufus Youngblood,
yes, they did. They cover a lot of lies.
To Johnson, testifies to the Warren Commission that upon hearing the first shot, he pushed Johnson to the floor. After Johnson's death, Youngblood recants and says, well, no, that's not actually what happened. That's what I was told to say. But that Johnson hit the deck and was talking into a small radio or walkie-talkie prior to the first shot being fired. All of those anomalies raise suspicions about what happened that day. In fact, it was Johnson who convinced Kennedy to visit Texas. The purpose of this was to bind up a division between the more conservative Bourbon wing of the Texas Democrat Party and the more progressive liberal wing as headed by Senator Yarborough. According to Jackie Kennedy's memoirs, the night before, Johnson goes to President Kennedy's hotel room in Fort Worth and tries to change the motorcade arrangements to put Senator Yarborough, his hated rival, in the death car with John Kennedy and move Governor Connally to the vice presidential car. Kennedy refuses, saying it defeats the whole purpose of his trip to Dallas. He's supposed to be seen with the head of the conservative wing of the party. Johnson pitches a fit. Jackie Kennedy says to her husband, what's wrong with Lyndon? And JFK says, that's just Lyndon being Lyndon. As you know, Connally was wounded along with John Kennedy. And from thence, the so-called single bullet theory was conjured up. In fact, this new documentary by Paramount Plus, What the Parkland Doctors Saw, you said at the beginning, Charlie, there are multiple shooters. And the wounds the doctors saw in John Kennedy were consistent with his being shot from the front and the back. None of this, of course, is reflected in any of the documents that have been released thus far.
So let's let's remind the audience, though, the significance of this, because some 20-year-old that might be watching this show, Roger, would say, that's all terrible, but so what? Okay, let's say that there were 2 shooters. If there was more than one shooter, therefore that means the government lied about it in the Warren Commission, they actively covered it up, and therefore it means definitionally it was a conspiracy. Roger, do you believe in more than one shooter? If so, what do you think happened on the grassy knoll?
There's at least 2 witnesses, one in the railroad tower, a second with fence line on the so-called grassy knoll. They see a puff of smoke from a gun. They actually see the man drive up in a green Plymouth station wagon, remove a rifle from a rifle bag, shoot from the fence line. I believe that man was a paid assassin, a Corsican who was working for organized crime. I think that is one of 2 shooters. The other shooter we've already talked about. I believe it is Malcolm Wallace from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Johnny Roselli, very famous gangster, rather flamboyant, insists that he was a shooter shooting from the sewer grate. So there's at least 3 shooters. I think there may have been a 4th shooter in the Dow Tex building, which is across from the Texas School Book Depository building. 16 doctors record a blowout wound in the rear of Kennedy's head, meaning he had been hit from the front. There's a wound about the size of a grapefruit in the back of Kennedy's head. By the time his body gets to the Bethesda Medical Center, and by the way, his body had to be removed at gunpoint by the Secret Service because Texas state law insists on an autopsy performed in Texas before the body can be released. Take it to Washington. Now, I believe it is possible that Kennedy's body actually left on Air Force earlier than expected. That the coffin that was on Air Force One may have been empty, and that wound is not recorded in Bethesda.
Well, and really quick, yes or no question, Roger. Didn't his head go missing?
His brain very definitely went missing. That is indisputable. Yes.
Poof, it just disappeared. Okay, Roger. So we have a couple minutes remaining here. The significance of getting towards the truth of this could show that the government lies to you and the government was involved. What would you say to someone that still believes that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, and any one of us that believes that there's more to the story, that we're just being conspiracy wingnuts? Roger, your response.
I'd ask them to look at the events of Butler, Pennsylvania. I'd ask them to look at the events of West Palm Beach. The similarities are very eerie. Let's take Butler, for example. We know that the Secret Service, the state police, and the local police know for 92 minutes there's a man who's been seen with a rangefinder and a gun within the sealed perimeter of the president's event, but no one tells the president's direct security detail, and he's not would have required. We're told that the Secret Service, the state police, and the local police are all on different radio frequencies, so they can't communicate with each other. In fact, local police see a man with a gun on the roof of a building earlier than the Secret Service, but they can't communicate that. We're told that
for the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have...
But they can't communicate that. We're told that Thomas Matthew Crooks is the man who shot President Trump from the roof of a building, but just as they hosed out the inside of JFK's limousine almost immediately, they hosed down the roof of the building where Crooks was shot and killed, presumably so there'd be no trace of his DNA. I find all of these things troubling, and I think that there are more questions than there are answers. And I find that troubling in itself. Donald Trump poses an existential threat to the established order. And now you look at the events in West Palm Beach, which are even more disturbing. How does to kill the president? We're told that he's indigent, behind in his rent payments, behind in his alimony payments. How does he afford to fly to Kyiv? How does he afford to fly to London, among other places he's been seen? How does he afford to post an online website recruiting mercenary soldiers to fight in Ukraine? How does he obtain the gun that he has with him on the ground in West Palm Beach, where the serial numbers have been filed off? Again, clear ties to the Ukrainians. So what happened in 1963, not dissimilar to what happened in the run-up to the presidential election, which is why every night when I say the rosary, when I pray the rosary, I pray for the protection of the president and his family first and foremost. You can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but there's already been 2 attempts on his life. Why would there not be a third?
And I mean, that's dark and deep and true stuff, Roger, unfortunately. You have been working on this for decades, I'm sure frustratingly. Do you believe you're making progress, Roger, in informing the American people about the truth of how our government might have the ability to execute its own president?
Well, I certainly pray that I do. Charlie, I'm working on a book on the attempted assassination. Produced a final report. But we know that John Hinckley, Jr., the man accused and later incarcerated and recently released in the assassination attempt of Reagan, is always in front of Reagan, crouching, shooting upwards. He gets off 4 shots. All 4 shots are accounted for. And behind. This is indisputable. So I'm now in about chapter 8 of what I think will be a 10 or 12 chapter book on that assassination. I think that there's a timeline of history here, Charlie. I think the same dark forces, Eisenhower called them the military-industrial complex, we call them the deep state, the same forces who killed Kennedy, the same forces who removed Nixon for having the audacity of being for peace in a silent coup, the same forces that tried to kill Reagan, the same forces who tried to kill Trump. Is this, in fact, this deep state, this globalist conspiracy of unelected bureaucrats and others that infect our national security apparatus, our military, the think tanks, the defense contractors, and they are scared to death by the most improbable and I think successful president in our lifetimes.
Well said. Everyone check out Roger's book. One more time, say it, Roger.
The Man Who Killed Kennedy, the case against LBJ. You can get it by going to themanwhokilledkennedy.com.
Thanks, Roger. Talk.
Yep. See, so tell me what you guys think there. Tell me. Yes, we're in my car, okay? I got things I gotta go do tonight. I do. But if they ever come live and I'll talk to you guys and see what's going through your mind. But what do y'all think about the J6 stuff? Innovation with the JFK stuff? What do y'all do? And I want you guys all your opinion about this whole idiots are throwing this whole tantrum thing and destroying Tesla, and they're getting all pissed off but trying to be out of control. It's stupid. You guys really need to start thinking about all things you're doing. You're pissed off at Elon Musk for showing you all, the American people, the truth of what your fucking Democrat, our basic corrupted government has been doing to us too. For years, sucking, stealing our money, but you're pissed at Elon Musk. You should all be pissed off at your governor and your damn Democrats. The people that steal your money. That's what y'all should be, but you guys are some more worried about everything else in life. I don't know. But in regarding to that Tulsa protest they got yesterday, I know it's all 50 states. All 50 states, they're gonna do it. But the weather changes so much around here. One day is rainy, one day is windy, one day is snow. We don't know what's gonna be here. But if we don't have the funds to go to these certain things, or so unless we have money, there's just no way we can do it. I don't know. I'm sure you. I don't know what the Democrat Party love. They love everything. I mean, I think I will. The fact that the Elon Musk is showing the American the truth and where all our money's been going to, where our tax dollars are going to. I think what basically what his team is doing there, Elon Musk and Trump team is doing, I think it's good. I mean, we need to be shown the truth there, what's going on. But the Democrat Party like it. I don't know. I don't know what's so good they like about it. You know? They like, I mean, they must like I said, what I just say is that the Democrat Party, the ones that like the governor fucking them over and bend them over, they like that kind of shit. They don't ask for no lubrication. They just love it. So they get mad. They're getting mad at people, at the American people that care about the country, like our president, who puts American first, and how Elon Musk put American first. They're all mad at that kind of stuff because they're showing the American people the truth, and they don't want the truth because they're so used to their fucking way. So it's stupid. It really is. I don't know. I really don't understand you guys. I really don't. I would think that the fact that Elon Musk is really showing you all a lot of things there, I really think you all should wake up. And they're very thankful. Just because you should be happy. I mean, if you're a Democrat, okay, look at it. Trump's not just doing for the Republican people. He's doing for the American people. He don't care what party you're on. If you're a D or an R. Gun control or freedom. He doesn't care. He just wants to make America great again. And I think that a lot of us all should be really happy. We all should be. But, I don't know. You guys seem like you're all mad. I mean, all you see is that you guys are constantly keying cars, sending stuff on fire. And you guys understand, you're not proving nothing. All you're doing is showing how freaking stupid you are. I mean, instead of taking all that anger and going to these Tesla dealerships and tearing up these cars, why don't you guys take your anger and go towards the basic, all that, and do it peaceful-wise, and go talk to your governor and talk to your damn Democrat Party. And why the fuck are you guys doing this to me? When's you gonna be happy and say, thank you, Elon Musk, thank you, Trump, even the fact that maybe you're not a Trump supporter, maybe you're not into, basically, if you don't love your freedom, say thank you, people. Be very thankful of what's going on right now. Because Trump has a lot of money. He doesn't need to do any of this here. He can simply go. He loves America. He loves his America. He wants to make the country better. He wants to make America great again, too. Okay? But you guys, I don't. You guys are just so used to just having people control you so much. You know, the thing is, too, on the topic, if you guys all pay attention, the Democrat Party, every time that they get fucking caught in their bullshit, they're the ones who throw a fucking tantrum, having a little fit. Every time. Which y'all too. You're all, you know, they're the thing is, good to understand, is that when Republicans go out and say, we'll do things peacefully wise, we do things peaceful. When the Democrat Party go out and say things to you guys always is violence involved. Violence. This is what it is. I mean, every time, it's always violence with you guys. Violence, all the time. It's never nothing peaceful. I mean, I have never seen anything on the Democrat Party that anything is peaceful. It's they're always encouraging violence. If there's something the Democrat Party don't like, they will tell you to go do something that's actually violent. Everything is violent involved. And that's not what it should be. First of all, the J6ers was a complete basically automatically was a setup there. So the governor needs to do what they need to do, and they are going to be held responsible. And I think the Michael Byrne and fucking that officer who gave the thumbs up, those motherfuckers should be charged and basically right to the fucking field, and right there let these fucking wild animals fucking take care of them. They need torture, and they're gonna fucking die out there. So, and you guys can say, well, you're a violent person. No, I'm not. I'm a very peaceful man. But I believe it should be an eye for an eye. So, the officer killed somebody, an innocent woman. There was a lot of officers, not just one. There was a lot of officers that killed people there. And that's wrong. First of all, pay attention. J6 was a setup there. And the thing is, too, yes, Tesla, everything, if you listen to it, Tesla is a setup there. Because they're encouraging that shit. That your Democrat Party are encouraging it. Come on. How come that you, the whole time, when we're watching everything, oh, I gotta take a break, I go, then you come back. Why? Why not? Why is it okay for your party, Democrat Party, and you can give the bullshit over in Nebraska, and I'm a Republican and all this bullshit. You're not. You think that you could fool me. You think you could come here and give the bullshit to everybody else. You're not a Republican. Okay? You're a Democrat fucking party. You like your fucking party control you. But you're not. That's the difference. I am not a fucking dummy. I know what you like. You're gonna come to my chat there. You want to try to kiss people's ass here, and you're so used to people say, "Oh yeah." I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna tell you straightforward. If I see a new person, I'll tell you right to your fucking face, and I have no problem. So trust me, I don't. You should be very pissed off with your Democrat Party. But you're not. Why are you not pissed off at your Democrat Party people for what they are doing? How they've been fucking you guys over for years. Not just fucking weeks. Years, keyword. The fact that they have a lot to do with the JFK file. They've been fucking us over for years. The government has something to do with that too. 9/11. Look at all these things here. American people are dying. Look at what your Democrat Party did. They lied to y'all about this here basic COVID thing. Oh, get your vaccine. That's gonna save you. Oh, it's all bullshit, you know? And it's getting very annoying because I don't think you guys really understand, really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys are fucking brains are fried or something. I don't know. And it's all, the thing is, the fucking Democrat and the fucking governor are trying to hold things back for us. They won't tell us the truth. And it's getting very annoying. I think as Americans, we should know the truth, but they won't tell us the truth. They want to continue lying to us, so that's what's going on these days. So I am very tired of this shit that's going on. I mean, I want the truth. I think that, I will hope that you guys will like the truth one day in life too. You know, but I don't know what y'all like. I mean, so far that I mean, to me, the only thing I can see is that you guys like your Democrat screw is over. You guys like it. I mean, they don't even offer you guys the fucking lubrication. It's like, fuck you guys over. And you're guys okay with that. I mean, if I was a fucking Democrat, I mean, fuck, I would be fucking on that shit hardly. I mean, I wouldn't want to do the truth. I would. That's just me. That's me, because that's how I feel in my heart. That I would want to do truthfully. I would definitely won't listen to bullshit. I mean, the Democrat Party, I mean, your party has lied to us so many times, in so many years. And there's no way. I mean, I like my freedom. And the thing is, you guys, all I hear you guys talk about government control, basic, you guys want the basic gun-free zone. The thing is, you guys don't understand. When you all say that you guys want a gun-free zone, you're saying, hey, you know what? The next guy over to you, hey, get rid of your gun, but the other one, the criminals, you can have your guns, you can come and shoot me, it's okay. That's bullshit. You guys shouldn't be asking for that stupid shit. Yes, some people get that here the truth. Yes, I understand that. And that's why, with me, is like, I talk a lot, and I talk just because I'm live right now, I'll have my live stream exactly Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, okay? And sometimes Friday. But I do, when I'm not live, I just don't just do my car stuff. I do a lot of things. I actually talk to people. I talk to a lot of people, even Republicans, even Democrats, even people that fucking have no clue what the hell they want in life. I talk to a lot of people. And you have a conversation with people all the time. Even in my job, people I talk to all the time. Going through her fucking head. And then, like, I'll ask you guys all too, why do you like your Democrat Party? But you guys can't answer the question. You have not one time have you guys answered the question. You guys avoided the question. You guys keep bringing anything else up besides answer the question. Because that's what all you guys know how to do. So, like I said, I don't have all day with this shit. So, I really don't have all day to go back and forth and waste my time. You guys have to really seriously make up your mind in life, what you really want in life. The thing is, remember one thing. Your mommy and daddy will be there. Your friends will be there. But you know what? One of those days in life, those who are going to leave. Ask yourself, are they really there, your friends? Are they really do love you? Like your parents love you? If you have parents. I don't know if you do. Because you know what? Hey, I'm proud to be American. Guess what? I don't have the mommy and daddy. But guess what? I know in my own heart that I believe in God. I know that I love myself. And I know that, I choose to live the life of God. I am trying to help you all out, and hopefully one day you guys understand that, sometimes your friends just want to use you. You don't need that. You don't need your governor to there to use you. And that's the thing is, I clearly love my freedom, and trust me. I mean, I talked to a lot of Democrat parties, and some are very, very educated, very smart, and some are fucking dumb. And some are just so fucking brainwashed. And that's what I see what you guys hear. A lot of y'all here that I see, you guys are very brainwashed. You guys have no clue what's really going on in life. So, all I could say is you guys need to wake up, start stealing coffee, and realize that your governor doesn't give a shit about you. All they care about is your fucking vote. After they get your vote, seriously, you're nothing to them. Because all they got is your vote. And guess what? Do you think you could go back and bitch about it? Well, you could, but guess what? You guys are two fucking cowards. So you guys won't do shit. So, I don't know. You guys need to wake up. I read the Bible all the time. I read Bible all the time. I believe in the Lord. I listen to my Christian music. But as I'm driving, I got things I gotta go do. I always listen to Christmas music all day. I listen to Christmas music, and I actually, when I have time, I sit down and I read the Bible. Plus I go to church on Sunday, because I believe in the Lord. You know, I believe that we're all sinners. We are all sinners in life. We all are sinners. But we have to get on our knees and ask God forgiveness, and actually ask God for everything. You know, you just can't. The thing is, you get a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to ask God for forgiveness," and then next day I'm going to go out and do another sin. Oh, I'm going to go. You can't do that. You got to live the God's life, and you have to say these words. A sinner. You have to say just, "I'm a sinner." Say, "I'm a sinner. Please, God, forgive me for my sins." But you guys won't do that. You guys don't hold your party responsible for their action. You don't. Because I will hold Minor Republic for my people in my district. I hold them responsible for their action. If they don't do exactly what they said they're going to do, guess what they get? They get a fucking boot. I don't play around. They'll get the vote, and they will. When I vote for them, I will spread all their information out to everybody. Make sure you know it. Because that's how you do it. You have to live the faithful life in life. You got to live with the Lord, and Lord, you have to have the Lord in your life. You know, some people don't. And and there's here people that all these times they want to think that the devil, think this devil shit. Do you really? That's how you guys think about life is devil. There's more. That's the kind of lifestyle you guys want, man. I don't know. I will never socialize like that. Hey, I talk to you. I'll get in here. I'll get the live stream going. You guys might love the devil. A lot of us you guys do. But, you know, I'll turn my radio on. I'll listen to my Christian music. I'll let you guys. I say read the Bible to y'all because that's for me to read for myself, not to read out to you guys. I don't do that kind of stuff. You know, but I do got things I gotta do. All I know is that Ashley Babbitt, there will be justice. Michael Byrne, and I think the fucking officer would give the thumbs up. I think, after they found both of you fucking guilty, go to the fucking field and let those fucking wild animals hit them. There you go. An eye for an eye. And final animals are fucking hungry. And you trolls can watch it too. Because I don't give a shit. And everybody else who fucking died, and they also fucking basically used a baton and fucking beat that woman. Come on. She was no fucking drug addict. That was murder. Every officer should have been charged today. Even the DC fucking in there too. Everybody was in charge. Whoever fucking did it, whoever, even Nancy Pelosi, everybody needs to be. Our tax dollars shouldn't pay for stupidity. But if you guys really want me to go to that protesting, I need the money, Hugh. You guys have to go to my Cash App. We have to get. It's a drive, but I have to go through tolls and all that, and I don't really charge a lot of money, Hugh. So if you guys could donate $120, well, that's $125. I could probably do it. Yeah, $125. If you guys could donate $125, then we'll do it. But if there's no money, we can't do it. I can't keep just using my own thirst of money. You know, our channel is 100% viewer funded. As much I love my country, as much I love to fight for my freedom, I just can't continue to spend all my money. I can spend money on myself and continue fighting for my freedom my way, and not going to 1,000 places too. Because it takes a lot of money to go to different cities every time. So, but I do got to go. I got things I go to do. I do got a life. I know you guys will probably get tired of me talking too. So, well, you guys all have a good night. And don't forget to pray. Don't forget to get on your knees and pray to the Lord. And ask God forgiveness. And say, Lord, I'm a sinner. So don't, please, do for yourself. Don't do for me. Do for yourself. Do for yourself. That means you really, truly want to set the Lord as your Savior. That's what I ask. Do for yourself. Don't do it for me. Because I have the Lord in my life. Because I know that when it comes to my time, I will be going to heaven. Now, that's like I said, you guys make your own mind up. But remember, there's only two genders in life. There's only two. So if you, yes, thank you. Yes, there are only two genders. If you decide to sleep with another man or another woman, God will get you. God will judge you for that. But you got to stop. Whatever hell is going through your man mind there, you better get that changed before you ask forgiveness, man. I don't drink, and I don't do any wine. So, like, I'm more focused on the Lord, doing the Christian life, trying to stay positive. I don't get into that stuff there. People that like to drink and stuff like that, I'm not like that. I like to just look positive. I try to give you guys, at least to hopefully you guys understand that positivity. In life, there always going to be somebody out there who are going to judge y'all, but you guys have to learn to not always let those things hurt you. Okay, and learn how to go forward in life. Okay. So, but out there, you guys are trying to keep me in here. I got more things to do in life. I have a life. My life does not revolve around here on the live stream all day. So, all right, y'all have a good night. And murder, keyword murder. They didn't die. They were murder. And on the note there, you guys enjoy.